everyone. Hello. Welcome to the 45th episode of Open Talk, titled Navigating New Realities, the Metaverse's Impact on Education. I'm Roberto Ibarra Jr., an associate professor from the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies and the director of the Immersive Open Pedagogies program here at the UP Open University. I also serve as the Deputy Director for Open and Digital Learning Research at the Center for Open and Digital Teaching and Learning, or COTEL. It's my pleasure to be a moderator for today's event, where we'll be diving into a topic of great relevance and potential, the Metaverse's impact on education. This episode is brought to you by the UPOU Center for Open and Digital Teaching and Learning, and we're currently live via networks.upou.edu.ph, the UPOU Networks Facebook page, and the UPOU YouTube channel. For our viewers, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them in the chat boxes on the UPOU Networks website, our Facebook page, or the YouTube channel. We encourage your active participation and look forward to hearing your insights. Now, to officially start our program, let me introduce our resource speakers. Our first speaker is Professor Dr. Eric Hawkinson. Eric is a learning futurist, tinkering with and designing technologies that may better inform the future of teaching and learning. Eric's projects have included augmented tourism rallies, AR community art exhibitions, mixed reality escape rooms, and other experiments in immersive technology. His roles encompass a diverse range of responsibilities, including serving as a professor at Kyoto University of Foreign Studies and as the research coordinator of the Metaverse research group. He is also the founder of Together Learning and a developer of Reality Labo. As a community leader for team teachers and chair of World Learning Labs, he actively contributes to educational initiatives. Additionally, he is a humble supporter of TEDx Kyoto and engages with interactive media through Forever Kyoto. He is the author of The Augmented Learner, further showcasing his commitment to advancing knowledge in this field. Good afternoon, Dr. Eric.
Thank you, Sir Bobby. It's very nice to be here.
All right, our second speaker is Professor Dr. Lunchakorn Wutisiti Kulkic. Ajarn Lunchakorn is a distinguished scholar with extensive expertise in telecommunications. He earned his PhD in telecommunications from the University of Essex in the UK in 1997 after completing his Master of Science in Telecommunication and Information Systems at the same university in 1992. He obtained his bachelor's in electrical engineering from Chulalongkorn University, Thailand in 1990. Let's welcome Professor Lunchakorn Wutisiti Kulkic. Our third speaker is Mr. Kadek Dendi Senaparta. Lecturer Dendi holds a master's degree in engineering from Gajah Mada University and a bachelor's degree in informatics technology from Sanata Dharma University. Currently, he serves as a lecturer at Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana, where he develops curricula, delivers lectures, and conducts research in machine learning and augmented reality. His extensive professional experience includes roles as programmer, analyst, and lead developer in projects spanning mobile apps, face recognition systems, and immersive technologies. In addition to his teaching, Mr. Dendi has contributed significantly to the field through academic publications and conferences. Good afternoon, Lecturer Dendi. And our fourth speaker is Mr. Lex J. Manguma. Deputy Director Lex is an instructional designer and a multimedia specialist and enthusiast. He graduated cum laude with a Bachelor of Education Studies degree from the University of the Philippines Open University, and he is currently pursuing a Master of Distance Education from the same institution. At present, Lexter serves as a full-time faculty member of the Faculty of Education, UPOU, teaching game-based learning, online teaching and learning, instructional design, and multimedia production courses. He also serves as the Deputy Director for Educational Media Production at the UP Open University Center for Open and Digital Teaching and Learning. Hello and good afternoon, DD Lexter. Once again, let's give our guests a big round of applause. Welcome, everybody. Given our limited time this afternoon and the exciting discussions ahead, let's dive right in and get started. From now on, I'm going to ask our speakers some questions to guide our conversation. Here's the first question, everybody. What are the fundamental concepts of the metaverse and its key components, and why should it be incorporated into educational settings? May I hear from Professor Eric first?
Hello there. Everybody can hear me okay, I hope. Can I have a thumbs up, Bob? Yeah, great. Yeah, the key components of the metaverse. It first got coined by an author, Neil Stephenson, a long time ago about a dystopian kind of future in science fiction. But it has since been a term used in many contexts in many ways. Often like we think about AI, right? AI means so many things to so many people, it almost means nothing, right? It depends on the context and where you are and how you're thinking. Same is true for the metaverse. And so we can think about all the technologies that go into it, like augmented virtual realities. We can think about bringing digital contents to you and you going into digital contents. But really, it's about bringing all of these things together. It's about the real life and the digital life and how they're going to start blending and blurring and mixing and all these other interesting ways. And what that means for the future of education, teaching, students, means a whole lot of things in a whole lot of different contexts. But really, it's about what we create in digital context, how we feel and interact in real life, and how we blend those things together in a lot of multitude of ways moving forward in the future. There's a lot of, different things we can come down to as far as like what it means for specific types of people and learners and places and things. But I think that probably might be a good place for us to start the conversation.
Thank you, Professor Eric. What about Ajarn Lunchakorn? What do you think?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the question. And the main topic today is about metaverse, right? Particularly, we are trying to exploit some of their features to future education. So maybe I will summarize a bit about what will be the future of education, not from the educational people perspective, but rather from just a typical person who spend their life on this world. One thing that we learn from future education is that first, cross-border education will be an important step for our future. We have spent a lot of time taking classes and trying to get into one university with our effort. And eventually we spend in that university for 4 years or 5 years and learn something that is provided by your favorite university. But then with the introduction of internet, we have seen a drastic change over the last 60 years. People are now connecting not only within their university, but also many universities are trying to bring their students together. For example, Professor Roberto mentioned about the initiative of getting US students, the Philippine student and the Japanese student together to do some activity. Or some universities are trying to push further for dual degree program. where you spend 2 years in the local university and then another 2 years abroad. Well, this definitely have benefit many students, but this development, or you may say evolution of education, is still obstructed by the physical limitation. So it is quite it's a great concept, but the implementation in the current situation is still far from what you achieve. And that is one of the demand where Metaverse can come into support. Secondly, education in the future will be more personalized. In my time, we will be trained with the same subjects for the same batch, and everyone finish with the same degree, with the same mentality. Okay, once the internet have opened the door, so younger generation, they get exposed to environment. They start to think of expanding their education further. So how are we going to give personalized education that match to your own talent or your own skill? And this is a long way to go. With the current education, we can produce a massive number of people that enter into the work, but we all agree that somehow personalized education should be an important target or direction to go. So that is, again, Metaverse could be a potential support, not to mention other emerging technology like AI, IoT, blockchain, or machine learning, and etc. So the third trend that is happening around the world is people are looking for lifelong learning. In the past, we will be educated for 12 years and 4 years in the university, and that's it. Our education life is over. But as you can see, new generation, they are facing a new challenge where they need to upgrade their technical skill. They have to be up to date to the change of AI. I think AI is making the world into something that we now have to work hard to cope with the change of the AI. So lifelong learning will be an important key. How a university can offer lifelong learning? They would not have enough people to support additional workload from this lifelong learning, which can be quite diverse. So let's see whether Metaverse can help on this. Finally, and perhaps the most important of all, is how are we going to provide education with equity, with inclusive manner. So suppose I would like to learn something about the Philippines, but I was born in Thailand. It would not be possible in anywhere. The best thing I can do is just go to the website, learn from YouTube or other things. Today, I have this opportunity to come to the Philippines. My vision, my perspective to the Filipinos and education will be more correct than being at home. Okay, so this is another thing we would like to see Metaverse coming to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lunchakorn, for giving us a very comprehensive answer while sharing your vision for all of us. Now we will be hearing from Professor Dendi.
Yeah, thank you. I think Prof. Ranchakon already explains a lot of things about Metaverse. But I have something more to add, that in Metaverse also we have we can create an illusion and also create the what we call a simulation, right? Like what Prof. Lansengkorn said, that we can see Philippines, we can experience Philippines almost in immersive manners. Yeah, immersive means we get into the inside or almost get the same experience as we are being in Philippines. Yes, so the technologies like a metaverse will able to help us to experience
theories and principles of instructional design while also escaping the room. So in order to escape the room, they had to answer some questions, perhaps a formative assessment that will assess whether or gauge whether the students have already learned the concepts, principles, and theories of instructional design. So on my perspective as a faculty, I would be able to know whether my students learned that concept if they are able to exit the metaverse. So I think for now that will be my answer.
Thank you, DD Lex. Before I ask Professor Lunchakorn to answer the question, I'd like to also ask the media team to play the video that I asked them to play, which would be relevant to what he's going to be sharing with us. All right, Professor Lunchakorn.
Thank you very much. This is where we are staying. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
CCDL.
I thought you will play the other video. Okay, so I believe this video was recorded maybe 15 minutes ago, and it shows that we are living in this virtual world. The lady is coming on stage, and in this system, I believe you are able to Zoom or communicate or have a conference inside, and everyone have their own avatar. Also, you will have your own physical image as a video, just like Zoom. And also you can share your PowerPoint slide or Canva. And this is an example of how Metaverse can do to promote the for example, University of the Philippines, Open University. And do you have another video that I can? Okay, that's fine. Okay, I can use this video, and I have to thank Professor Roberto for making this creation of the Metaverse of UPOU possible. And some of the models were made by the participants, professors from different universities like Cebu, like Diliman, and etc. So and from our point of view, the metaverse will, how do I say? I put it this way: when we were small, people say that you play games, you have no future. Is it true? You play games, you have no future. And then we have to take a tough life, work very hard and not happy at all. But it's a meaningful life. It's happy in certain way. Okay. If you enjoy game, it's happy life. Okay. So what is a metaverse? Metaverse is bridging between a tough life and the happiness of playing game together. So why cannot we have a future and still happy. That is, I feel that Metaverse is taking us to this direction. I have been working for like almost 30 years in the field of wireless communications. Only 5 years that I shifted to Metaverse, and my life totally changed. I get to meet many new people. We visited country like Professor Dandy. Professor Dandy allow us to visit Indonesia, and we work together. And that's what that is what I can tell from my own feeling. Other than that, maybe the speaker can share.
Thank you, Professor Linchakort. Now we go to Professor Eric. Oh, I don't think he's audible right now.
How we doing now?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Thanks. As far as I can tell, we're still talking about different implementation strategies and ways to, effectively utilize and add value to education for these various tools. I think one thing that I might be able to contribute to this conversation is give some examples of how we're using it here in Kyoto, in Japan, and in various places that we're partnering with around the world. One of the great things about the metaverse that's been mentioned by some of my esteemed colleagues is the ability to cross border, the ability to travel, to experience things. Jeremy Bailenson, VR pioneer at Stanford, used the DICE parameters for this: dangerous, impossible, counterproductive. Things that we might not be able to do or may be too expensive, we can start to experience through these technologies. But what I am trying to do also to help with that is kind of give some examples, some good ways of pointing in the right direction to help amplify some of the great value that this might bring to various contexts. And I have some, I won't be able to go in through all of these, but I want to quick mention them in case some viewers or some people in the audience might want to look this up a little later. There's an example for augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and artificial intelligence. And we're starting to blend all these things together, as these technologies do. But talking about the metaverse as it's been presented today, I think probably the most kind of telling and what I think most satisfying project is something called the My Hometown Project, where we're using this empathy machine, the extra affordance that this technology gives in the way of agency to its users, just being able to walk around, interact, move your head if you're wearing a headset, perhaps like this, in a space, right? And use that to transport somebody. So right now we have we've been doing this for over 10 years in different contexts. We have students in mostly our tourism department, but now we're doing things like migration studies and virtual journalism and stuff in this technology. And it started off with basic bring your own smart devices to class type thing. And then we went into a persistent metaverse kind of online in 2018, just before the pandemic. And now we have these kind of virtual tours, a database of tours where students are sharing their hometowns all over the world. And so now this has become a part of virtual travel.
Is Kota Gede, a sub-district south
Maybe
of
you can hear
Yogyakarta
some of this
city.
audio of people
Welcome to my
saying,
hometown, Malacca,
Malacca,
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Welcome to my
This is in
hometown,
Japan. These are
Kuwait City.
students introducing and giving virtual tours of their places where they grew up. And not only that, one of the things that gives affordances is that we're able to bridge in physical spaces too. So we've built a whole laboratory to help physical students have that face-to-face presence, but also bring them along with you on these virtual trips all over around the world. So we have this place called the Youth Theater, where small groups of people, they don't feel so isolated with a headset like this, and then we're able to do things like perhaps the metaverse that we've seen earlier in other settings by other professors, and kind of start to mix and blend these things in a virtual and physical space, and start to study what it means to interact with people that might be a hologram standing next to you, or in virtual space as an avatar or a real person standing next to you, and getting all those people working together and collaborating in various ways. And this is where we're starting to see the trends move forward now into the future as well. So think about, as an educator, what kind of this gives to you as far as leverage, as far as motivation, being able to do things you might not be able to do cross-border that was talked about earlier, and now experiencing life, what it's like for someone else, and step into their shoes and experience cultures and places growing up all over and anywhere. I have some other examples, but I think I just want to concede the rest of my time, and I'll put some other links to the rest of those into the chat for later. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Professor Eric. Now we move on to the next question, which will be answered first by Professor Dendi. How can the virtual immersive experiences offered by the metaverse complement the goals of holistic education?
Yeah, okay. Holistic education, yeah. Okay, holistic education, from my understanding is, a person can learn from, yeah, intellectually, and also from his feelings, yeah, emotionally, and also he can also learning more on spirituality. So it's a whole concept of the concept of holistic education. So one things that can metaverse offer for the holistic learning, I think one example is learning about multicultural, and also learning about religions. Like in Indonesia, in my home country, we have many religions, more than five, six actually, six religions. And using metaverse, we can create environment to learn more about how each religions how they are doing, and how they doing praying, and also maybe the students or the users using their avatars can also experience more immersively to learn more deeply about each of religions. By doing so, so the metaverse can contribute how to create the unity in diversity environment to learn each other, especially about religions. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now we go back to Professor Eric. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, holistic learning is a very interesting concept when connected to the metaverse, because it's a little bit not intuitive, because metaverse can be seen as a synthetic or a simulation of what's real. But in many ways, you can start to get back to the basics. For example, during the pandemic, we all got on Zoom for emergency remote teaching, and that was our way of getting together. And we got Zoom fatigue. We got some other things that were really good about this, but we lost a little bit about what it means to be together in a space, what it means to have authentic kind of human connections. And the metaverse is sort of a compromise between that Zoom remote teaching and what we have might be possible in leveraging being at a distance, using technology, and actually trying to feel some of that. And so there's all types of different various things that we can get from this. We're from using it from nursing to psychological training to empathy building to bringing it to places like hospice for people to experience and going outside. But even more than that, start to kind of integrate different ways of looking at the world, like thinking of holistic as a way of humans' relationship to the earth, to even physics. So I'm just going to switch over and see, I'm in my office right now, but you can also experience what it's like to be on my desk inside the office. Here I am in my real desk, but I'm also here in a virtual space as well. So now you get it feeling what it's like to be 2 inches tall and be on a desk with me in this real space in my real location with a digital twin and using some other metaverse type elements. And you can see how this can be used to go inside a body, inside of a cell, on another planet, and into a synagogue or a church or of other places that have religion that was mentioned earlier, and kind of experience these things as it were as you might have been like I said before, with that hometown project, stepping into somebody else's shoes. And there's so many different ways that researchers in different fields, from migration studies to journalism to tourism, are starting to build on this kind of holistic learning type idea. And I think it's a great question that we might be able to build on moving forward in our conversations. Thanks.
Thank you for giving us vivid visualizations of your examples, Eric. Now we go on to DD Lex.
Yeah, I'd like to answer that question in the perspective of a multimedia specialist. And in the multimedia learning theory, according to Bates, people or the students learn more when you combine text and images or graphics, and meaning to say you are combining the pedagogical affordances of each media. And I see the metaverse as that, the combination of text, images, visuals, representation, audio, video. And so in one of my classes, producing or designing and developing educational media, we asked our students to develop a metaverse, particularly in the content. The content of that metaverse is particularly what specific SD goals or sustainable development goal. And so we saw a lot of potentials of presenting content in a different way, in a more immersive way, wherein the students are exploring the virtual world while also learning. For instance, one of our students in EDS 153, that's a course in an undergraduate course in UPOU, they developed a metaverse focusing on how you can conserve water, or how you can provide a gender development training or GAD training. And the environment was filled with different media. Like there are texts, there are images, there are videos, audios. And so when going back to the multimedia learning theory, when you combine these for pedagogical affordances of these each media, you are actually maximizing the learning potentials of that medium. And so I see multimedia, or I see metaverse rather, as a tool to provide the student a deeper and meaningful learning experience. Yeah, that's for me.
Thank you, DD Lex. The first three questions delved into the metaverse as a whole and some of the instances in which it can be used in education. Now let's dive into how teachers can play a role in making it effective for education. And I'm going to be talking to our two instructional designers, Professor Eric Hawkinson and DD Lex. Professor Eric, what do you think? What role could teachers and educators play in maintaining the quality of education in a metaverse-driven learning environment?
There's no audio. I
Oh.
think you're mute.
Thank you. Always forget to do that. Anyway, all right. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach this kind of question, and from the teacher's perspective, from the student's perspective, as an institution, right? Thinking about things like data collection and privacy and policy. There's all different ways to think about it. But I think from my perspective, I've been working on trying to actually meaningfully integrate these technologies into curriculum now for about 10 years. And I think that has been one of the biggest challenges and for educators as a whole. So you have, for example, some faculty that are very technical, are very interested in seeing what's new, what's emerging technology, testing new things. We have some more traditional style teachers. How do you get, they have some content that's relevant that could be used in the technology, and they have some approaches that might be more relevant here. And so trying to get some consensus, trying to build some curriculum, and trying to integrate these technologies in perhaps places where it could be useful, but not necessarily implemented well, especially because that particular faculty member isn't a immersive learning specialist or ed tech or even an instructional designer. And so a couple of examples of what we've been doing here in Kyoto is we have a whole range of classes now that integrate metaverse technologies or augmented virtual reality, mixed reality in some fashion in one way or another. And so what we started to do is build some case uses and put them into particular classes and then get some of those case uses made available to other faculty and then invite faculty members in for workshops over the years and give them a sense of what the students are doing, give them some ideas about how they might integrate this into their teaching and learning, and then a couple of them would come up with some ideas, and then we'd help support them integrate into their technologies. One of the great things that came about this recently was partnering with some of our faculty members to use this for leadership training and diplomacy. We have a whole section of our university for peace studies. And so they do something called Model United Nations now in a digital twin I helped them create of the Security Council chamber in New York City. And now they're conducting real life, multinational kind of gamified simulations where you pretend to be a representative for a particular country and go in and run these kind of world scenarios together. And so that's just one example of how that's being done. And through our research and our groups, networks around the world, there's a whole bunch of different other strategies that have been helpful in trying to get these technologies a little bit quicker and add a little more value to different areas of learning. Putting out a call, for example, for educators to come up with ideas and then support them with technology, or a person that's good at kind of making the cross link between studies and the technology, or putting together a group of researchers and having them come up and support each other with a couple of ideas. Some universities have actually chosen, cherry-picked a couple of places on campus, and then had their IT departments or their resources kind of focus in on them. All of these approaches have their good points and bad points as well. But one of the big things I think that we can do as teachers, as educators, as facilitators, as universities, is try to find the people willing to do parts of this and connect them to the other, and kind of cross-pollinate these different approaches that we can do in teaching and learning. And sometimes it's not easy, but I think it's like a very important kind of activity, and not necessarily thought of as much when thinking about these technologies, and not necessarily developing them, not necessarily putting them to work, but finding new ways that it's having value and working that into the culture of the institution, the school, and the classrooms. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing your experience at Cuffs, Dr. Eric. What about at UPOU, DD Lex?
Yeah. For me, just like any media and tools available outside, I always believe that the role of the faculty or the teacher inside a learning environment is to facilitate learning. And so, as a faculty or as a teacher, you need to go back to the learning outcomes, learning objectives, program goals, and look at how this tool or this technology can assist you towards the achievement of that particular learning outcome. For instance, if you want to develop, I think most of our courses here in UBOU want to develop critical thinking skills, digital literacy, communication, collaboration. Those skills can be learned or nurtured inside a metaverse, right? And in fact, in other technologies. And since we're focusing here in metaverse, I'd like to focus on the communication and collaboration skills. One of the examples that we are using here in UPOU is the COIL project of Deputy Director Professor Rob. No, we use the metaverse, so we developed a metaverse space, and then we use that space to collaborate to our international partners. So the students of I think the multimedia studies program is actually collaborating with the students of or Japanese students and American students, right? So these affordances that the metaverse can give the faculty, you as the faculty then should be able to facilitate that collaboration, that interaction that the students would be able to experience in a learning scenario. So that's one of the examples that I can provide.
Thank you, DD Lex, for sharing about our project. The last question will be directed to our technologists and engineers. Why should educational institutions invest in metaverse technology to improve quality? While I'm going to be asking for Professor Lunchakorn to answer the question, we're going to be playing another video that he requested so that it can illustrate what he's going to be sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have prepared a video to show some of the examples that have been implemented in different sectors, including education. And if you recall that the biggest company in the world have invested billions of dollars, not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years. They have invested heavily over the past few years. So there must be something that they see, even
Welcome to a new era of possibility where the virtual and physical worlds unite to transform how we learn, connect, and grow.
Step into the future of education, with Metaverse bringing virtual classrooms to life, offering immersive learning experiences in a digital campus environment.
Okay,
King
this is
Mangkut's
example
University of Technology
virtual campus
North
in
Bangkok
Thailand.
initiates
There are
to explore the
at least now
possibilities
2
of
universities
robotics
that
through a
start
virtual
to have a
simulation
full
platform to
campus.
revolutionize the way we
When we say
understand and
campus, we
interact
mean
with
just
automation.
probably one faculty, because one faculty already a big space.
University Library
And this is a
Metaverse
central
provides
library
training
of the
for students
university.
to
What we
navigate
are doing is
library
to
services
integrate different
seamlessly
libraries
and saving
from
valuable
various
time for both
universities
students
together in
and
one place,
staff.
so people can benefit and visit and acquire books and things like that. And inside, I think we need a partner to create games. In the metaverse, one of the beauty is that your staff can be doing something else meaningful. Instead of training 30,000 of students every year, a student will come into this metaverse and learn how to use the library, and they can come at any time they like. Or future education, when we visit, this is an electricity generation power plant. It was done in digital copy of it, the whole factory.
National
So
Telecom steps into the metaverse to showcase its service
we do not
center,
need to
offering
go a
a
long
virtual
way
demo that highlights
to
the
meet and
future
to
of
learn
customer
about the
interaction
hydro
in
power
a fully
plant.
digital world.
And this is also the recent deployment of National Telecom, where they provide their services over the virtual world on top of whatever they have.
In collaboration
For the
with
Thai Airways
Bioways,
International,
geography
they
comes
are
to
interested
life
in the
as an
metaverse, and
educational
they like to
metaverse,
know what it will
helping
bring
users
into
learn
their
about the
business.
world
So
through
this is what we are
engaging
working
gameplay.
with them, and to find a good solution. Of course, metaverse is an ongoing process. We don't know how we can win in this metaverse world.
เจ้านาย
But
ราช
anyway,
ตระกู
during the
ล
COVID
ตั้งแต่ลูกฉันเป็น
situation,
ต้นลงไป
university
ตลอด
have
จนถึง
built
ราษ
this
ฎรที่
virtual
ต่ำที่สุ
museum.
ด
And the
จะให้
beauty
ได้
of
มี
this
โอกาส
museum
เล่าเรียน
museum
ได้
is
เส
that
มอ
it
กั
can
น
be interactive,
ไม่ว่าเจ้า
and
ว่าขุนนาง
all the
ทั่ว
information
ใคร
that put in this
เพราะฉะนั้
virtual
น
world
จึง
is
ขอบอกได้ว่า
totally
การเล่า
correct
เรียนในบ้าน
by
เมืองเรานี้
expert.
จะเป็น
So
ข้อ
the
สำคัญ
history
ที่
will
หนึ่ง
be
ซึ่งฉันจะอุตสาห์
very
จัดให้
very
เจริญขึ้น
clear,
จงได้
and it cannot alter. And one of our biggest initiative is to build the temples. This is what Arun. It is the first temple for every overseas traveler to enter Thailand from the sea. The temple was made to impress foreigners and visitors. Currently, we will be launching this hopefully by November. So we hope that 7 or 8 billion people, when they have nothing else to do, they can come and enjoy the magnificence of the beauty of the cultural. They can come and enjoy and the beauty of the cultural. Yeah. The next slide will be the current initiative where we invite many university to be located in the same space. And then, for example, I will be able to learn about batik cloth from Duta Vajana University on the green building there. If you enter into that space, Professor Dendi is preparing all the batik from different shops in Yogyakarta. So it's so difficult to go to Indonesia and have a regular shopping there. But with this technology, Dr. Dendi will enable us to visit Yogyakarta with just staying at home and do something. So what is a metaverse? Yeah, I finished. And now looping. So who will benefit from metaverse and who will create the metaverse? Surely the biggest company in the world is taking everything. Yeah. Imagine in Thailand, we used to build a word processor for Thai. Okay, we have a few versions of word processor made locally. It was used for about 4 or 5 years. And when Windows Microsoft Word came along, everything disappeared. And it shows that there can only be one word processor in the world. So that makes the owner so successful. So what about video server like YouTube? Do you anticipate any second provider or third provider who can come and challenge? They might come in a different form, like Netflix or other platform that showing video but on specific purpose, right? The world have come to time that the bigger will take everything. Is that right? I mean, Facebook bought Instagram, right? And there is no more competitor. If you become a competitor, they will buy you. So that is what is really going on in the world. What about metaverse? Will we be in the same, the same trend where the small disappear? Today, you can have Spatial, you can have Roblox, you can have a few platforms, including the Meta. And there was one book that I read long ago. It says clearly that the metaverse will not be owned by a single person. It won't be a word processor. Well, first reason, metaverse is beyond universe. We have the history of the earth, a few thousand years. How can you dominate this time and space? That is not one dimension, not two dimensions. It is infinity times infinity. Even our campus alone, you can make millions of games for students to come and learn and benefit from you, right? So this world of metaverse is the future for sure, right? But who can be part of it? And how can we be part of it? Will University is the good place to create metaverse? According to our experience, we learned that metaverse is a bad business. Everyone wants it, but don't want to pay. And the producer spend billions of dollars and make little profits. It is not like Facebook where you build one platform and contents just keep coming in and everything grows, right? So we are living in a situation of university life. People who work in university know that you work so hard and you earn so little. So metaverse is for us, okay? Because no one will do this crazy job, working a lot every day and earn so little. Now, how are we going to be part of this journey? And that's what Professor Roberto have a vision. Yeah, he said that UP have so many campuses, right? And UP also funded heavily by the government. And UP has the responsibility to support other university because of you're taking all the budget, right? So how? So, and today is our starting point. If you like what we're doing, please help each other. I think the detail will be discussed later, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Lunchakorn, for that very inspiring answer and enticing examples. I'm pretty sure that a lot of faculty administrators watching right now are thinking about investing in the metaverse. And last but not least, not yet the least, not yet the last, Mr. Dendi, please give us your answer.
Yeah, I think from what we have seen in the video and the recent project by Prof. Lanchakon and the students are creating virtual Wat Arun temple. Yeah, we also in Indonesia have a temple, big temple, which is a Borobudur temple, which is Buddhism temple that is really big, and also have a Prambanan temple. And Prof. Lanchakon and their students already visit. Imagine that. Well, in Asia, we have many place to pilgrimage for religion. Yeah, imagine that we can create such a virtual pilgrimage by creating a digital building or digital spaces for such building, and we can doing virtual pilgrimage using Metaverse platform. I think that's all, and hopefully this year or next year, first phase of the next years, we can create some things and collaborating with Prof. Lachekon because they are providing us a framework to do that. So it will be really helpful, and also from for the UPOU, I hope we can collaborate more to create such things that virtual pilgrimage. Thank you. I think that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Dendi. And since we're talking about temples, what about the temples in Kyoto? Professor Eric?
Talking about temples, oh yes, we have actually one of our digital twins we made during the pandemic. We were supposed to host a number of schools here in Kyoto. It's one of the spiritual centers of Japan. It's the ancient capital of Japan. It's a very unique place. We have, 1,000-year-old temple right next to the headquarters of Nintendo, right? There's a little mix of the new and the old, and that really kind of is a metaphor for what's happening with the metaverse, right? We have digital twins of something called Yasaka Shrine here in Kyoto. And so instead of during the pandemic of being able to invite people from different places, we were able to invite them into the metaverse. But if I could, just one last thing, Dr. Lunchakorn really hit a special place in my heart when talking about the metaverse being for everyone. And that's one of the battles, one of the things that especially us educators need to be fighting for, because as he mentioned, companies are looking to build their existing technologies, their existing almost monopolistic stack on top of the metaverse. The same thing is happening with artificial intelligence, and building one metaverse is like building one website, but a lot of resources need to go into it. It could have a lot of things, but that necessarily doesn't scale as well. But as we start to integrate artificial intelligence and generative AI and other things, that's going to change and change rapidly. And so if we have more open educational resources, like the great work they're doing with you, with Dr. Lunchakorn, and we have more opportunities to make it more widely available, we bring in and embrace the open web and less kind of closed platforms from which they can be the next, iPhone app model from which to take 30% of everything. We can have more of that, and really educators can be a way to kind of show a way where business models can actually make a little sense and moving forward. So I really applaud that way of thinking, and I just wanted to reiterate that I really appreciated that, and I really appreciate you, Bobby, for hosting, and everybody else for their time. Thank you very much for having me a part of this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Eric, and for everyone. What an inspiring discussion. Let's give them a warm round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Before we end, I'd like to, do we have time to accommodate some questions? Some questions from the audience? Anyone from the floor? If not, I can read one that was contributed by Assistant Professor Joel De Castro. So he said, I like the second question, so if you'll allow me. How might the metaverse change the roles of teachers and educators in the learning process? This is a really interesting question. I know that you've given some examples a while ago, some use cases, but if the metaverse becomes the de facto learning environment, what do you think would be our new role as teachers? Anybody?
For me, imagine you are co-creating a space with your student, and that in that space is a learning environment itself. So for me, teachers and students alike can be co-creators of knowledge in the metaverse and make that metaverse widely available in the public. That's a better pursuit. Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else?
It's more being the supporter in the corner and less the sage on the stage. It's that way of thinking with students rather than teaching at the students. It's a way of learning together learning rather than possibly being the sole expert in the room. This is artificial intelligence is going to be a big part of this as well, right? Everything that we do as educators can start to be automated. We teach the same class 3 times, and then we can hand that over to a possible, transformer-based learning language model that can then be represented in a metaverse, and then that is now in an asynchronous, persistent virtual world. And so it's going to be a lot of pressure on educators to stay ahead, to keep making new things, to keep reinventing themselves and creating new content. But at the same time, students are going to be wanting authentic connections with their teachers. So it's more coaching, it's more supporting, it's less making that lecture 2 or 3 times a week or putting out a video into the world every once in a while. It's being in that persistent world, being that supporter in the corner, and less the sage on the stage, I think, maybe.
I like that. Teaching and learning together learning. Unfortunately, we don't have time left for other questions, but thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts. We would like to also thank our viewers and listeners. Just to review, Professor Hawkinson provided insights on the metaverse, offering a perspective that bridges both scholarly analysis and practical applications, particularly from his experiences in Japan. Professors Lunchakorn and Mr. Dandy share their projects in Thailand and Indonesia, highlighting how the metaverse can significantly impact education in their respective countries. And Deputy Director Lexter discussed specific use cases of the metaverse at UPOU and provided insights from the perspective of a multimedia specialist, showcasing how these technologies are being integrated into UPOU's educational practices. Before we close, I'd like to invite our resource speakers to share their final thoughts on the metaverse in education. Just some last words. Can we start from Professor Lunchakorn? Some last words? Maybe we can invite them again for later.
I must say that the Filipinos have made me so wonderful time. If you would like to taste mango, we get mango. And if you like to try something else, something will come, right? Okay, so this is one day of my life that will remain in my memory, and it will bring the excitement, not because of me, but because of all the participants, your professor, your chancellor, or everyone seems to drive our heart, and we have many things to do, right? And let me confirm, Metaverse can give you a meaningful life with happiness at the same time. So please join this exciting new world. Thank you.
Thank you. We definitely will. Can we give him a warm round of applause again? Thank you, Professor Lunchakorn. What about DD Lex?
Yeah. Educational metaverse has a lot of potentials that we need to explore as faculty members or as members of the academy. And joining in our research groups and researching on these potentials can help us contribute to unearth the pedagogical affordances of these emerging technologies. So come join us and let's explore the virtual world.
Thank you, DD Lex. Another round of applause for DD Lex. Now lecture Dendi.
Okay, yeah. I think in Metaverse, this is a digital world, and in Metaverse also there is many opportunities and many opportunities and also many possibilities that we are can able to create and experiment many things. And using this technology, we can create many experience, and also for the students, they can able to learn many things from this. I think that's all for me, and let's create it together.
Thank you, Mr. Dendi. Another round of applause. And last but not least, Professor Eric Hawkinson.
Oh, great. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all the participants and my fellow panelists, and especially our host, Professor Dendi, Dr. Lunchakorn, DD Lexter, and our gracious host, Dr. Bobby Figueroa. I want to just emphasize also that the hospitality that was mentioned by Dr. Lunchakorn, I have felt also. And so our growing community of researchers, practitioners, and even some people in the commercial zones joining us in these efforts, for example, the World Learning Labs that we hosted here in Japan, a lot of which was attended by our our colleagues there in the Philippines. This wonderful group of people that's growing. It's a wonderful atmosphere. It's a wonderful group of people to work with. And so I wanted to just reiterate the welcomeness that's felt, and we welcome you to join us, whoever's listening out there. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Professor Eric Hawkinson. All right, thank you very much to our speakers, Dr. Eric Hawkinson, Dr. Lunchakorn, Huti Siti Kukij, Professor Kadek Dendi Senaparta, and Mr. Lexter J. Mangubat. That was indeed a very powerful discussion. Our gratitude also goes to our Open Talk viewers for tuning in today. Before we end the program, we invite you to send your feedback about today's episode. You can access the evaluation form through the link and QR code flashed on your screens. There you go. Also shown on screen are names of lucky viewers. This has been Open Talk. Thank you and good afternoon.